Hi everyone, I'm Dr. John Cipolla. I teach saxophone and clarinet at Western Kentucky University, and I'd like to make a few short videos for you on fundamentals of the clarinet, and then I'll also do some for the saxophone as well. First, I want to talk about assembling the clarinet. So the clarinet has numerous pieces, and I'm going to show each of the pieces to you and show you how to put them together. So I like to put them from the bottom up. This is called the bell, and this is called the lower joint of the clarinet. There's some cork here, and so it's good to put a little. I was looking around to see if I have some cork grease. I don't have any on my desk here, but this has been greased before, so you want to have a little bit of cork grease so that it's very smooth when you put the bell on. I grab the clarinet with these two fingers here in between. I try not to touch these two outside keys. Sometimes it's okay to touch the keys like this if you're not going to bend them, but the risk is that you would bend them possibly. So it's a little safer if you use your middle two fingers like this to hold the instrument and grip it into the plastic or the wood, whatever your instrument is made out of. Then I grab the bell and I do a twisting motion. There is usually a label on the bell like this, and I want that label to line up with the label or the keys. So I do a twisting motion like this as I press up, and then I see that my label is lined up with the keys like this. I try not to force it. So if it's getting forced onto the clarinet, then I will probably need to get some more grease on there. Now I can hold it down at the lower part, or the same way here like I held it before with these two pieces, fingers rather, and then I take this joint here, which is our upper joint of the clarinet. So now I have the bell and the lower joint here and my upper joint, and I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to place it in here, but I often will put it on my leg so that I stabilize the bottom of it. And you have to be very, very careful that the bridge key here does not get bent when it touches this other bridge key here. See if I can get us a close-up as I get it closer. So a good way to do that is to hold the this ring down here to raise this key right here. You can see how it's moving a little bit. And as it's raised, then when I gently twist the clarinet together like this, and I'm pushing up from my bell, or if I switch hands like this, the same thing, raising it by just compressing it with my hand. The goal is to get that bridge key here, let me get the angle correct here, to not conflict or touch this bottom bridge key. So all clarinets are slightly designed slightly differently. Some bridge keys fit over, the bottom one fits over or under, depends. So let me give you a very short, quick assembly demonstration. So I'll try to get the camera angle. So again, I'm closing this ring up the top with my whole hand. I'm getting that key in the back here to move, and so it won't conflict and touch. And then I just do another gentle twist and push down, so it's like a corkscrew kind of. Same with the bell. Once I get it assembled and I get the two joints in there together, all our clarinets will have slightly different mechanisms or shapes of these keys here. So, but the goal is that they're even like this, and that they're not kind of, I'll give you an example, not aligned. So you see how this edge is sticking over a little bit. We're trying to get it so that it's exactly lined up. And usually it's pretty clear with these instruments what that looks like. Your instrument may look different than my instrument, but that should be pretty clear. So now again, what we've done is we put the, initially I had the bell on, so I'll just quickly redo that for you. I grab the middle here like this. I take the label, and I want that label to line up with the keys. So I push the label a little bit away from me or towards me. I do a twisting motion like this, twist and press. If it's too hard to put on, I put some cork grease. The upper joint, I can still keep my hand the same here and press that ring here with with the palm of my hand or the edge of my hand a little bit to open up that bridge key here. And then I line the two joints together and I try to gently twist. When I assemble this instrument, I go very slowly. I want to always check every single time that these two keys are not really touching before I do the final alignment of them. You can get into a habit of putting your instrument together. Sometimes if you're late for your band class or your rehearsal, you can get into a habit of just putting it together very, very quickly. But we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that you get into the habit of, as soon as you're holding the instruments, the parts of the instrument, you kind of go into slow motion and you, almost like in a slow video, slowly put it together and pay 100% attention, particularly to this area here, and that you're not bending these two keys here. Now we have these three parts put together, the bell, the lower joint, and the upper joint. Now we have the barrel. And the barrel is easy, very easy. So I grab the top joint here, and I place it on top. Again, if you need some cork grease, you can grease this before you put it on, so just a little bit of grease there. And I will, again, rest the bell onto my leg, so you're not seeing that on the camera here, but that way I can press down a little bit and I don't have to grab with my hand here too hard. I'm trying to avoid bending keys, just getting enough grip that I'm not going to let the instrument slip. And then I do another twisting motion here, so grab the barrel and twist it on. Now my label is a little bit worn off. This is a Selmer Privilege clarinet, but it should line up with the label on the top like that. Okay, let's get to the mouthpiece now. So the mouthpiece is going to have the same motion. So if you need some cork grease on the cork, again, you put some of that on there. Hold the clarinet a little towards where the mouthpiece is. So now instead of gripping down here when I grab for the barrel, I probably want to hold part of the barrel in my hand, or even the whole barrel like that. I'm sort of gripping the entire barrel, not the upper joint. And I grab the mouthpiece pretty firmly so that I don't drop it. And so one tip I forgot to say earlier in the video is that we want to often put this instrument together sitting down on the floor. So it's okay to do that, because if you're sitting down on the floor or putting the instrument case on a chair, you're not going to risk dropping a mouthpiece or dropping part of your clarinet. Okay, so now I'm going to place this on top, and I'll move my hand so you can see what I'm doing here. But when I grab this, again, this twisting, twist and push down, twist and push down. So this is a D'Addario Evolution EV10 mouthpiece, which I like very much. So now I've put my clarinet together, and all the pieces are together. And now the next thing is the ligature, which will hold the reed. I have a fancy Italian ligature called ZAC, Z-A-C, and it has one screw on the top, and it really does a good job at gripping the reed here. So once my ligature is on, now I do the reed second. I place it into the opening here. So I'll see if I can get this on the camera. So once the ligature is on the mouthpiece, I push it up a little bit so that I can have room to slip the reed into it, and then I let it pull the ligature down. So let me line this up a little better so I can see it, and then I'll show you another picture of that. Okay, so now I've lined this up, and my goal with the mouthpiece, with the ligature and the reed, and particularly the reed placement, is that if I put my hand back here, I want this reed to be pretty much flush or even with the top of the mouthpiece. So if I put my hand here, and I'll try to line the mouthpiece up a little bit. You can see that the reed tip is pretty lined up. The edge of the reed is lined up with the tip of the mouthpiece. And if I turn it this way, you can see a little sort of trick that I learned when I was in school. My band director, when I was back in school, said if you can see a little black line, which would be the top of the mouthpiece, then your reed is just at about the same level as the tip of the mouthpiece, and so it should work well. The other thing we want to do when we line this up is make sure that the reed is not too far over either side. And the way you can do that is it's a visual sort of test, but you can see if it just doesn't look even. And I'll try to take my mouthpiece off and give us a quick example of that. So if my reed looks kind of like this, and I'll hold it up there so that I'll put my hand behind it. Let me see if I can get the camera angle correct. Sorry about all the moving of the wrong way here. So you can see this side here is, it could be moved over to this side some more. And so it's a visual thing, the placement of the reed. Again, I use both my fingers here to push one side or the other side. Again, just to review this, so when I have, after I have the mouthpiece on the clarinet, the next step is for me to put my ligature over and slip the reed in second. Why do we do that? Well, here's the example. If I put the reed on like this and line it all up correctly, now I have to kind of hold it for a while, and then when I take this ligature and slip it over, I can risk, number one, moving the reed, but the really big risk is that I can crack my reed. So I can put the ligature on, and then I might move it a little bit too much to one side or at the wrong angle, and the tip of my reed will crack. And so if we put the ligature on first, be very careful when you do this that you don't scratch the tip of the mouthpiece, okay? There are all kinds of ligatures. Here's a metal ligature. Most students have a metal, or they sometimes have a leather ligature like this. And so that's a topic for another video to talk about ligatures. Once I have my ligature on, I slip the reed into the top, and then I can make my alignment so that, again, I have the tip of the reed flush with the tip of the mouthpiece, so it's pretty even. And if I want to, I can just see a little bit of a black line if I put my hand behind it like that. And I also just double check that my reed is even on both sides like this. So now I have my clarinet assembled, and I'm all ready to play. So I'll just show you what the full assembly looks like. So now I'm all ready to play. And the last little sort of test is to just double check that all of your keys are aligned. So if it looks a little bit like this, and this may be hard to see in the camera angle, but what I did was I twisted the top joint a little bit to the side, and so our bridge key would look a little bit off center like this, and that's not good. So again, I check my bridge key here, that this is lined up, and like I said earlier, each of these keys can be on different instruments, can look different. So if that's lined up and looking good, then we're all set. And another sort of little test for ourselves is the label on your clarinet usually has the brand name of the particular instrument that you have. This and this would be lined up straight, along with if you have a label on your bell, and then sometimes there's even a label of the instrument maker right there. So all of that should be lined up. Okay, that's how to put together a clarinet. Thank you very much, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please feel free to send me any messages, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.